All right, Cowboys fans, we've got some serious stuff to unpack today, and it's not the kind of news anyone wanted to hear. Over the recent weekend, Cavandi Turpin, the wide receiver and return specialist for Dallas, found himself in hot water with the law. He was arrested on charges related to illegal possession of a firearm and marijuana. Now, this isn't just a small hiccup, this is a big deal. That raises questions about what it means for Turpin's future with the team and how the Cowboys will handle this off-field incident. To break it down, Turpin was hit with 2 misdemeanor charges, one for carrying a weapon unlawfully, and the other for possessing less than 2 ounces of marijuana. The firearm charge likely stems from mishandling permits or not following the proper legal steps to carry a gun, which puts him in a difficult spot given the strict regulations. This is certainly a black mark on his record, especially considering that Turpin recently signed a new contract and was looking to build on a promising career with Dallas. While he did have some off-field issues back in college, those happened quite a while ago, so many hoped that chapter was closed. Unfortunately, this weekend's events suggest otherwise. This situation is especially tough because the Cowboys were hoping to enjoy a drama-free 4th of July weekend, resetting and focusing on the season ahead. But instead, they're now dealing with this unexpected distraction. The team had already seen its fair share of off-field troubles, and now Turpin's rest adds to that string of complications. The big question on everyone's mind is, will this lead to a suspension, and if so, how severe will it be? The answer might surprise some. Despite the seriousness of the charges, I'm not convinced we'll see the NFL hand down a suspension for Turpin. The league has moved on from punishing players harshly for marijuana-related offenses, especially now in 2025 when weed is becoming more accepted and even legalized in many places. So while Turpin will likely face increased scrutiny, including more frequent drug testing and potential fines, a suspension purely based on the marijuana charge seems unlikely. The gun possession charge might raise eyebrows, but even then, the NFL's past actions suggest they won't go overboard here. For example, Jameson Williams faced similar issues and the league decided against suspending him. That said, the Cowboys themselves won't just brush this under the rug. Inside the organization, you can bet there will be consequences from the coaching staff and front office. Brian Schottenheimer, the offensive coordinator, will almost certainly have a conversation with Turpin about the seriousness of his actions and the example it sets for the rest of the team. It's possible we might even see some public comments or a show of discipline when training camp starts and questions come up. Teams often use these moments to send a message to the entire roster about accountability and professionalism. Still, compared to some of the other issues Cowboys players have faced over the years, this incident with Turpin isn't the worst. And even for Turpin himself, this isn't the darkest spot on his personal record, but it's a reminder that no matter how talented you are on the field, you can't afford to make careless mistakes off it. I like to think of it as a simple rule I heard once from a high school teacher: don't be a dumbass. Before doing something, ask yourself if it's a smart move or if it's the kind of thing a dumb person would do. If it's the latter, then you shouldn't be doing it. Turpin's weekend arrest definitely falls into that dumbass category. I'm not angry with Cavandi Turpin, but I am disappointed. I'm curious to know how you feel about this situation. If you had to rate your disappointment with Turpin on a scale from 1 to 10, what would you pick? Drop that in the comments and let's get a conversation going. It's important to keep the bigger picture in mind here, especially considering Turpin's contract situation. Speaking of money, Turpin recently signed a deal worth 3 years and $13.5 million with $5 million guaranteed. There are also some incentives that could add a few million more, but those are considered not likely to be earned since he hasn't hit those performance marks yet in his career. So the deal isn't as massive as some headlines made it seem. The actual guaranteed money is focused mostly on this year. The Cowboys structured the contract with incentives for receptions and yardage milestones Turpin has yet to reach. But if he does, the team will gladly pay those bonuses. One important detail about NFL contracts is that future guarantees can be voided if a player faces suspension. That's a standard clause across the league, but since Turpin's guaranteed money is mostly for this year, that doesn't come into play much for him. Some Cowboys players have specific contract language around fines and guarantees, like Randy Gregory's contract did, but Turpin's situation is straightforward in comparison. Looking ahead, despite this setback, Turpin is still expected to be a lock to make the Cowboys roster. The bigger question is how the team will use him in the upcoming season. CeeDee Lamb and Jackson Smith-Njigba will likely be the top 2 receivers, with Michael Gallup and Jordan Addison also competing for targets. Turpin's best role seems to be as a gadget player, someone who can take jet sweeps, run bubble screens, catch quick passes, and maybe even handle some carries. Last season, he had about 47 touches, and it seemed the coaching staff was trying to find ways to get the ball into his hands more on the run game, though it took them a while to integrate those plays into the game plan. Turpin's versatility as a kick returner also remains a valuable asset, especially with the new kickoff rules that have shifted how teams approach special teams. In the past, he was heavily involved as a return man, and when opponents stopped kicking to him, those rule changes helped him get more touches again. I'm genuinely interested to see how the Cowboys deploy him offensively this year. Will they lean more into his speed and playmaking abilities, or will he remain a situational weapon? I have some doubts, but also hope that the coaching staff recognizes his potential and gives him a bigger role. It's also worth remembering Turpin's off-field issues back in college at TCU. Those incidents played a part in his going undrafted and landing in the UFL. Before finally getting a shot in the NFL, he was dismissed from TCU after multiple domestic violence allegations surfaced, and he reportedly did not inform the coaching staff promptly. Eventually, he reached plea agreements that involved probation and intervention programs. Reports from that time painted a picture of a talented athlete who struggled with a difficult home life and poor influences growing up. Many believed he had turned a corner since then, staying out of trouble until this recent arrest. So while this weekend's incident is certainly disappointing, it's not entirely out of character with some of the challenges Turpin has faced in his past. The key now will be how he responds moving forward, whether he learns from this mistake and keeps his career on track or lets it spiral into something bigger. The Cowboys will have to weigh that carefully as they prepare for the new season. Continuing from where we left off, one of the biggest questions surrounding Cavandi Turpin's situation is how the Cowboys will handle this internally. While the NFL's disciplinary system might not hand down a suspension or serious punishment, given the nature of the charges and the league's evolving stance on marijuana, the Cowboys are a different story. Teams often take matters into their own hands when a player's off-field behavior threatens the culture or image they want to maintain. Brian Schottenheimer and the Cowboys front office won't want to send the wrong message to the locker room or fans. Even if nothing is publicly announced, it's safe to assume Turpin will face consequences behind the scenes, whether that's fines, increased team impetus, discipline, or a reduction in his role on the field. The timing of this is also problematic. The 4th of July weekend is a moment when teams hope to avoid distractions and reset after the off-season grind. Having this kind of news drop right then is like a punch to the gut. It puts the coaching staff in a difficult position as they try to keep the team focused and build chemistry heading into training camp. When the media and fans start circling on a player's legal troubles, it becomes a weight on the entire squad. Now, when we talk about Turpin's role on the team, it's important to consider the offensive landscape of the Cowboys. This year, the wide receiver group is stacked. CeeDee Lamb remains the clear number one option, showing incredible growth and consistency. Alongside him, Jackson Smith-Njigba is expected to make a significant impact, bringing in fresh energy and skill. Michael Gallup and Jordan Addison also provide depth, making it a highly competitive position group. That said, Turpin brings a unique element that the team values: his versatility and explosiveness in space. Last season, we saw glimpses of Turpin's ability to create mismatches and make plays in the open field. The Cowboys tried to get him involved on jet sweeps, bubble screens, and even some occasional carries, though it took some time for those plays to become a regular part of the game plan. That kind of gadget usage fits Turpin's skill set perfectly. He thrives when he has the ball in his hands and can use his speed and agility to make defenders miss. The coaching staff's challenge is how to balance that role while maximizing the opportunities for their star receivers. The special teams component cannot be overlooked either. Turpin's contributions as a kick returner have been noteworthy. Special teams often provide a platform for players like him to shine, especially if they're not the primary target in the passing game. The kickoff rules changes in recent years have impacted how return specialists operate, but Turpin has adapted well. He was heavily used in 2020 to then opponents started kicking away from him in 2023, which limited his opportunities. The new rules in 2024 brought those chances back, and it will be interesting to see how the Cowboys use him there moving forward. One thing that remains uncertain is how this recent rest might affect Turpin's mental state and performance. Legal issues and the associated stress can weigh heavily on a player, impacting their focus and confidence on the field, it's not just about physical ability. Mental toughness and stability are huge factors in success at this level. Hopefully Turpin has a strong support system in place, including coaches, teammates, and family to help him navigate this rough patch. Looking back at Turpin's college years at TCU, it's clear that he has had his share of personal challenges. His time there was marred by serious off-field incidents, including allegations of domestic violence, that ultimately led to his dismissal from the team. Those incidents severely impacted his draft stock and forced him down a difficult path, eventually making his way to the United Football League before catching on with the Cowboys. Reports from that time highlighted a troubled home life and influences that didn't always steer him in the right direction, but the consensus was that he had matured and was making better choices. Until this latest arrest shook that belief. It's important to recognize that people can make mistakes and learn from them. Turpin's situation is a cautionary tale about how even talented athletes with bright futures aren't immune to poor decisions. What matters now is how he handles the fallout, and whether he can regain trust within the organization and among fans. The Cowboys, known for being a team with high standards and a strong culture, will likely require Turpin to prove his commitment and maturity before fully moving past this. From a financial perspective, Turpin's contract reflects the team's cautious optimism about his potential. The 3-year $13.5 million deal includes only $5 million guaranteed, with the rest tied to incentives based on performance milestones he has yet to reach. This kind of structure gives the Cowboys some flexibility if things don't pan out, but also rewards Turpin if he can step up and produce on the field. Since most of the guaranteed money is front-loaded in 2025, any suspension or legal issues this year wouldn't impact the guarantees much. That said, suspensions can void future guarantees in NFL contracts, which is why teams often try to avoid letting those situations escalate. Looking forward, the Cowboys' receiving corps will be fascinating to watch. While Lamb and Smith-Njigba headline the group, the competition for the third and fourth receiver spots will be fierce. Turpin, Michael Gallup, and Jordan Addison all have something to offer, and how the coaching staff chooses to deploy them could have a major impact on the team's offensive versatility and explosiveness. Turpin's gadget role seems likely to continue, as it plays to his strengths, but if he can develop as a more consistent target in the passing game, that could elevate his value significantly. Another factor to watch is the coaching staff's approach to discipline and player development this season. With the Cowboys looking to contend at the highest level, maintaining focus and team chemistry is critical. Incidents like Turpin's arrest can threaten that balance, but they can also serve as teachable moments if handled properly. It will be interesting to see how Brian Schottenheimer and head coach Mike McCarthy navigate this situation publicly and privately. Fans and analysts alike are sure to debate what Turpin's future holds with the Cowboys. Some will be quick to write him off or call for severe punishment, while others will advocate for patience and second chances. The truth probably lies somewhere in the middle. Turpin is still young and talented, but he must take responsibility and demonstrate growth. The coming months will be telling. Off-the-field support systems and personal accountability often make the difference in a player's trajectory. Turpin will need to lean on positive influences and stay away from distractions. The NFL is a demanding environment, and the margin for error is small. It's easy to get derailed, but equally possible to rebound stronger with the right mindset. It's also worth noting how the media and fanbase react to these situations. The spotlight is intense, and sometimes knee-jerk reactions can cloud judgment. While accountability is important, it's crucial to remember that players are human and capable of change. Hopefully, this situation encourages a broader conversation about support, growth, and second chances in professional sports. In the meantime, the Cowboys continue their preparations for the season. Training camp approaches and the roster will begin to take shape. Turpin's place on that roster seems secure for now, but his role and status could evolve based on how he handles this off-field issue in his performance in practice and preseason games. In the bigger picture, this incident with Turpin highlights how fragile the careers of young NFL players can be. Talent and potential can only take you so far if poor decisions or legal troubles intervene. Teams invest heavily in these athletes, not just financially but emotionally and in terms of their future plans. When problems arise, it becomes a test of character and resilience. As the Cowboys move forward, they'll need to balance their desire to win with maintaining a culture of responsibility and professionalism. Turpin's situation is a reminder that every player carries the weight of representing the team and its values. The way this story unfolds will reflect not just on Turpin, but on the entire organization. Ultimately, this is a developing story. We'll keep an eye on any updates regarding Turpin's legal proceedings, team discipline, and his on-field role. There's still plenty to come, and this situation could have ripple effects throughout the season and beyond. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. In a move that sends shockwaves through the NFL, rumor mill whispers are growing louder that the Dallas Cowboys might be parting ways with tight end Luke Shoemaker in a surprise deal with the Miami Dolphins. While nothing has been confirmed, multiple sources close to both organizations have hinted that talks have taken place, and some even claim the trade may already be done, just waiting to be made official. Shoemaker, the former second-round pick out of Michigan, was expected to be a key piece in Dallas' offensive puzzle. Known for his blocking prowess and reliable hands, his upside was one of the reasons the Cowboys were confident about the tight end room heading into last season. But despite flashes of potential, he hasn't fully solidified his role. Amid the emergence of Jake Ferguson and the team's evolving offensive dynamics, under head coach Mike McCarthy, now with the Dolphins reportedly looking to bolster their tight end cores and add depth behind Durham Smythe, SCHOONMAKER's name has emerged as a logical fit. Miami's offense under Mike McDaniel values versatility, and Shoemaker could thrive in their motion-heavy play-action scheme. The former Wolverines' athleticism and blocking ability could complement the Dolphins' outside zone system perfectly. It's unclear what the Cowboys would receive in return, though speculation includes mid-round draft capital or a rotational defensive piece. This would mark yet another bold front office move, as Dallas looks to reshape its roster ahead of a pivotal season. For now, both teams remain tight-lipped, but in NFL circles where there's smoke, there's usually fire. If the deal goes through, it would be one of the more unexpected player moves of the offseason, and one that could quietly have major implications for both squads. Stay tuned. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.